Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of 80 Days. I hope you've enjoyed this series so far. I have. Or I do think I'm going to stop recording this game once I'm done with this one. I don't see me recording more of it. It's been a bit long, recording session. Anyways, I was taking a small digestive walk after a substantial breakfast when I saw a young lady in a bright pink sari and yellow lens goggles pitch herself over onto an angel. After railings, I leapt across the deck and immediately entangled myself in some coils of rope which toppled me onto the railings in a cursing and ceremonious heap. I peered over the edge, bracing myself for a traumatic sight, but the woman waved up at me cheerily, suspended from rails by a length of thick hemp rope not around her waist. I waved back, though my fixed expression could hardly be described as nonchalant, even by the kindest critic. The woman sought me out at luncheon, by which time I was much recovered, and she introduced herself as Daya, Mademoiselle Daya. I bowed, a pleasure to make her acquaintance. She laughed in surprise. Your manners are very fancy. I thought we had lost you earlier, I remarked. You gave me a terrible fright. She grinned. I must admit, I waited for you to show up before I jumped. An excellent performance. I could not fault her theatrics. I'll make it up to you. Agra is a big city and all the good stuff is below decks. I will take you down tomorrow if you want to do more than sightseeing. That sounds like a proposal for non-YouTube stuff. Let's just leave it at that. She swept away into the crowd, leaving me to contemplate her challenge over my meal. Of course, I went below decks. I'm curious. I am a man who cannot resist a challenge. Dare told me of some of the history and layout as we descended a series of stairs of increasing ricketiness. I followed until we reached a stop. My guide raised her hand. The sound of engines was vibrating up through the floor. The walls here were highly polished, inlaid with jasper and sharp calligraphy. Then she opened a pair of carved doors with grave ceremony. Welcome to the lovely city. I blinked my eyes against the light, and as they adjusted, I saw where we were. We had come to a township built within the echoing bowels of the city, complete with shops and residences, and even children playing games on the street. Though these children tossed adjustable sparrows and brass rings. A child threw a ring at my feet. A child approached us, reached out a hand. I reached out to hand it back. The ring I saw was old and grey with measurements. An e-cap day, I said. We go through 5 or 6 every decade. Daya was clearly a well-known figure and introduced me to her fellow lower city folk with great pride. Almost everyone wore tool belts and yellow lens goggles. So, she asked, turning on the spot with hands outstretched, what do you think of my home, Frenchman? It is fantastic, a hidden world, I declared. I have not dreamed such a place existed beneath the parks of the upper deck. Diane nodded at my response as if turning it over in her mind. The truth is, I think, that all cities have a below decks, my friend, she said. Agra's is just more obvious, or less, depending. All too soon I heard a sound of bells which signal a stop. The room around me exploded in controlled chaos. The floor rocked, left and right and back. Brass-goggled men and women pulling enormous levers through open iron gates and shouted instructions at each other in a storm of languages. The city lurched to a halt, and the great heart stilled. We had arrived at our destination, the British city of Calcutta. Market, hey. I saw it here. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Close it. Plan. Need to go to Chittagong. To pass tomorrow before 9 AM. Okay, no shopping. Let's explore. Calcutta was an industrial city which had built its wealth on opium, textiles and indigo. But that was not to say it was uncultured. The chai shops which I passed by were all thronged with affluent babas and behenjis discussing poetry and literature and the sticky subjects of Indian independence. It seemed a natural outcome of events, and I said as much to be loudly shouted down by several pro-British voices who in turn were shouted down by those firmly in favour of self-rule. It was certainly a thorny issue, and I wonder if we will be able to avoid all consequences of it. Do you think there will be trouble soon? I asked. Several voices agreed, but then several disagreed. It seemed that there was no clear answer to be had here either. Only time would tell. I go quickly to Miss Monsieur Fogg. Hotel. Before retiring, I attended to Monsieur Fogg because he needs it. Depart. To Chittagong. Embark. Go. The SS Thunder. We boarded the SS Thunder on the Apcar shipping line and on its way to Hong Kong and Singapore. But the smokestacks barely had time to steam off their morning dew before we were approaching Chittagong to pick up more labourers. We made a full stop. We disembarked and made our way into town. Market. We are selling this carpet thing. Let's buy the rifle, sure. And that is Yokohama, Canton and Batavia. We need to explore. Chittagong had been under British control for over 100 years, but still I felt the hostility of the Bengalis as they fetched our bags, served us tea and smiled. Monsieur Fogg ignored their ill-temper magnanimously, a tactic that was more enormously adopted among the colonial administrative traders and officers of the city. It was odd sensation to be hated so impersonal, and so I took pains to be courteous to the natives of the city. But it had little effect of the tampered down rage nestled in the corners of their mouths. More prosaically, we had been instructed to visit the visa office. So I hired a mechanical palanquin, much like the one we had taken along the Grand Trunk Road, and I was quite happily enjoying the tour when a thundering explosion rocket rocked the city to the west. The streets flooded with soldiers and citizens roiling in an uneasy mass. I leapt out of the palanquin, realizing I would be swifter on foot considering the thronged streets. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the spiral of smoke rising above the police armory on the roof, which a man in pristine white coat performed a crisp military salute and raised a green, white and red flag. The flag of the Indian nationalists. The people around me began to scream their support, and hundreds of white leaflets fell from the sky. I seized the leaflet, conveniently printed in both English and Bengali. The revolutionaries declared themselves to be the Indian Republican Army and announced their intention to seize the police armory, but also disrupt the railway and telegraph office. The oil smoke in the air and continuous explosions indicate the success of the mission. It seemed revolutionaries had effectively cut off Chittagong. We were trapped. And the city would, I fear, soon be ablaze. Right, so let's plan. We can go to Singapore. And then to Canton, Hong Kong. Basically. Let's do that. If we can. We don't seem to be able to, as of right now. So let's rest at the hotel, I guess. Nighttime in Chittagong was not quiet. As soon as the sun went down, the street echoed with shouts of cries and cries discerning of revolution. I sat up, guarding the door, rifle in hand, but Michelle Wake prompted to his bed, claiming the British would keep control of the situation, I am certain. And if forgotten the afternoon's events already, how could a gentleman's memory be so short? Depart, can't I not go this way? Okay, I guess I have no choice. Embark here. The British army had closed on Chittagong's port and set up pickets which prevented travellers from leaving the city. Luckily for us, the colonial governor had made exception for monks on our way to the Burmese royal capital of Yadanabon for the 5th Buddha Synod. A sensible decision, given the uprising, interfering with the peaceful monks' religious practice would only inflame their arrest further and perhaps even push tense British relations with the Kingdom of Burma into yet another war. Uncharacteristically, it was my master, rather than I, who had convinced the monks to grant us passage with them. I confess myself surprised by the magnificence of the transport. A small fleet of carriages drawn by pairs of gilded leographs, chintes, which belched steam from their jaws. I glanced at my master and settled into seats. Are you sure they are monks? I asked. A dry laugh interrupted whatever response Monsieur Fogg was about to make as a Burmese monk in the Middle Years climbed in. The carriage was sent by the King of Burma. They do not belong to us, he exclaimed. They began to jolt their way into the city with own raw material goods. A very generous king, I remarked, being rather suspicious of kings in general, and kingly generosity in particular. He is, the monk agreed affably, and then settled into meditative silence. And so, with such a conversation, we left the burning town of Chittagong behind us. Converse. Mania. Rangoon. The monks in our carriage began to chant in Sanskrit as the sun moved across the sky. I listened, captivated by the sound. I only felt quiet when the carriage drew out to a halt in the royal city of Yabadon overlooked by the hill of Mandalay. Let's plan further ahead. Alright, no real hurry, I guess. Right. Yadanaborn was thronged with Buddhist monks and believers who had flooded the city to attend the 5th Buddhist Synod. They meditated, conversed, and drank endless cups of tea in the many free travelers' shelters south of the royal capital. I went looking for transportation, locating a rack of chintas for hire aside. Sayats, where do you head? And the driver shrugged. South or north? Punjab, Rangoon shrugged. Where do you want to go? London. That's quite far. Indeed so. I replied, and I turned to leave when the smell of cooking distracted me. I approached and fell into conversation with one of the cooks in the neighbor Sayat, who was stirring a vast pot of glass and roast chicken broth, flavored with lime leaves and coconut. Aren't Buddhist vegetarians? I cried, watching her add slice of roast pork. I cried, watching sliced up roast pork in her cooking. But what? She looked at me blankly. We are followers of the Theravada school. The monks are only forbidden to consume the flesh of humans, elephants, horses, dogs, cats, lions, tigers, bear, leopard, and slugs. Slugs? Do slugs even have flesh? I asked weakly. Are you questioning the Buddha? No, I'm just curious. Now, are you just going to stand there, or are you going to help me serve this meal? Of course, madame. We fed perhaps 50 monks and travelers over the next hour. It was hard labor, but at the end of it, I felt a true spirit and camaraderie. The cook gave me 2 bowls of flavoursome noodle broth as reward, and I took them home to my master. Excuse me. A nourishing meal was not something to be turned down on our travels. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.